Pickering Field use agreement. Gerard.
We're not done yet?
No, we aren't.
All right. Bob, you want me to kick this off? Um, so Bob and I have played commissioner of baseball for the past, since November, Bob? Feels like that. And we have, sitting with council, a final draft of a use agreement, a 4-year use agreement for Pickering Field with CRNAA. And I'd like to put some context around the agreement and where we are today, just so we're very clear about the agreement. First, obviously, I think we all think and know that baseball is good for Newtown Borough. It's part of the charm of the borough. Pickering Field is really a gem in the heart of a neighborhood in our borough, and obviously it's good for the kids who play on that field. I think the agreement is mutually beneficial to both the league, who gets access to truly a premier facility, and to Newtown Borough in more ways than one. In the fact that the maintenance that the league does on that field and the condition they keep it in ultimately saves the taxpayers money, because it would be a big expense if the borough actually had to maintain that field. Second, I think the use agreement process itself has been a good one. Both parties have been working really in good faith towards an agreement that satisfies multiple stakeholders associated with the field. The process started way back in, I think, November, when we had our first meeting with Kevin O'Shea. I see Kevin's in the audience. Hi, Kevin. And Bob and I, really teamed up and worked together on this, and I think a good collaboration, a good perhaps example for Rip and John to take on the Newtown Corporation. We worked right up until Sunday evening on the agreement, and I just want to run through the process so it's very clear for everyone who hears and sees this. But the first draft and the process to move forward was mentioned at our January council meeting. We had prepared a draft in December, finished off in early January. That draft was placed on our website in mid-January. We discussed it with both residents and the league at our February work session. We revised the draft of the agreement. We had a discussion at the March work session just last Wednesday with residents and council. League unfortunately wasn't at that meeting, and there were a couple things that we had to adjust because we don't know how to maintain baseball fields, basically. We revised again and had some discussions over the weekend, and really circulated a final draft of council and mayor yesterday. Sort of my editorial comments on the agreement itself is I think we tried to address the multiple concerns of the stakeholders. The immediate neighbors had some concerns. The league had some concerns. Everybody didn't get exactly what they wanted, but I think at the end we have a final document that's really a good one and a good sort of third way, where the important issues are addressed, and I think obviously we're going to vote on it, but that'll allow baseball to go forward this spring and fall. So I just wanted to also highlight sort of some of the major changes in this agreement compared to the last one, just so it's clear. And I know we had a draft up on the website, and I'll try to highlight as best I can the changes that were made to that draft. But overall, I think the agreement itself is compared to the last agreement in a much more legal type, owner leasee kind of wording. I'm not a lawyer. The last agreement tended to be more of a list of rules and regulations. So I think Bob agrees that this agreement will be easier to renew in 4 years from now, because I think a lot of the legwork has been done and the heavy lifting has been done to this point. Personally, I believe the most important change that we made was to outline a better process for improved communication between the league and the borough. We'll now be able to have quarterly check-ins with council on an as-needed basis. So if there's an issue, it's not going to sit around for a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. We can talk about it. We identified the streets, lights, and property liaison as the point person for the league and field. So there's a single point of contact at the borough for the league to go to and for concerned residents to go to. Another, I think, good change is, obviously, there was a lot of discussion last year about fall baseball. Fall baseball is an agreement. We had, I believe, a good experience last fall. We do have a check-in process each year to grant approval for that current season. Some other things that were tweaked, announcements will be attempted to be minimized as much as possible, as long as the league rules will allow that. There will be a listing of affiliated teams attached to the agreement. A schedule currently posted on the league's website will also be posted on the Snack Shack or somewhere on the premises. There were a number of specific dates excluded from the agreement during the use period. That included the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, the Sunday of Labor Day weekend, and the Saturday of the Library 5K run. The agreement explicitly states that when during the off periods and when the league or is not actively using, even during the use period, obviously the field is open for the public to use. I want to emphasize, though, that during that use period, that the league does have priority. So if they come with a game or practice, they do have priority by right. So there were some discussions at our work session about wetting the field before dragging it and the tarps. Some of that language was put in and we took it back out because it was just impractical for the maintenance of the field. I think Bob and I worked in the spirit of wanting baseball to proceed because we saw it was good for the borough, and I think we came up with an agreement that meets that goal. So with that, Bob, do you have anything else that I missed?
Let's just make a motion.
All right, so Bob, you want to go ahead?
Jump in if I'll make a motion for the solicitor to finalize the facilities use agreement between Newtown Borough and the Council Rock Newtown Athletic Association for the period of January 1st, 2010 through December 31st, 2013, to send this agreement for execution to the president of the Council Rock Newtown Athletic Association for execution, to be returned to Borough Hall for execution by the president.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I've been watching the drafts as they've come across the table over the last 4 months, so I'd extend that accommodation as well to Kevin O'Shea and Bucky Klosser on the other side of the table.
Anyone else wish to speak? Okay. I did want to make a couple comments and to let you know that clearly I've been involved in this conversation over the last year or so when the neighbors brought concerns to my attention. And at that time, when I looked at the previous contract and was more than a little concerned about missing information and the concerns at various items such as safety consideration and the ability to use the field when the league is not actively using it would be addressed. And I'm pleased that the parties have been able to find wording that's agreeable to everyone that addresses those situations. And as I understand it, even though it doesn't say the tarps won't be on there, it means that you can take the tarps off if you're not using the field and you want to use, and the community would like to use the field, they can take the tarp off as long as they put the tarp back. Is that okay? Yeah, and that the safety issues which have been yet to be identified specifically to you will be addressed in a timely fashion. And those, yes, and I appreciate that because we all want fall ball and regular baseball to be safe for everyone, and appreciate your willingness to work together, and we all want the field to be used safely by our young people, and realize it's been a very intense process for everyone, and I'm glad to see that we have something in front of us to vote on.
And I do think there's a couple extra copies in case people are interested tonight in getting. You had them out there? Oh, thanks much.
Does anyone else on council wish to speak to this motion?
I just want to clarify that the intent of the motion is that this does not have to come back to council, that once it's returned, Julia does have authority to sign, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to speak? Okay. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard on this?
Hi, Kevin O'Shea, president of CRNAA. First of all, I just would like to extend my thanks to Bob and to Gerard and to the rest of the council. It's been a long year going through this process, but I think we've all learned something, and I think we worked together to put together a fine product that we can all live up to. I'd also like to thank the neighbors for their input. We never really intended to cause anybody any discomfort in their own homes. So we'll take that into consideration every time we take the field. So I just wanted to say thanks and play ball.
Okay.
Sorry, and also Mick Scarata and Bucky Klosser, they helped out very much through the final hours. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, if not, we have a motion and a second on the table here for vote. Do you want to restate your motion?
No, that's okay.
Okay, so we're
Of
good.
course
All
you got it.
right, everybody knows. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.